Hello friends, this is Growl. Welcome to my UI video for Dragonflight. In this video, I'm going to go over every single add-on that I use, as well as some of the common questions and things where people get stuck while installing. Hopefully this should be helpful to you. If I directed you to this video, you probably had one of the many questions that we'll go over, and let's get into it real quick. So first I'm going to start with VuHDo. VuHDo is what I use for my party frames. This is definitely the one that people struggle with the most, mostly because the UI looks like it's from 1995. So what you're going to do, first, people get stuck even importing stuff. You're going to go into bouquets. This helps to do this first. And any bouquet dependencies that are listed in the description of the profile, you want to import them right here on this page. General bouquets. This is just a fancy way to set up how HOTS are shown. Not mandatory for the profile. Then after that, you go to tools, and then this is where you can import the profile. So you'll press import, you'll paste this code in, it'll probably lag a lot, and then it'll do nothing. So in order to get the profile to work, you need to go on this drop down, select the profile. Most of mine are named yumytv, the class, and then either dungeon or raid. It'll import like that too. You also may want to select what group sizes. So for instance, dungeon frames, I use 1, 3, and 5, and then we click apply and save, and then that's how you load up the profile. And now it should look like this, and then down here if you have more party members. The next thing that people struggle with besides importing is going to be the hot icons. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's a language thing, but sometimes it doesn't always carry over the HOTS that you want. So in order to display HOTS however you want, or anything on the frames, you go to the panels tab and then hot icons. And this will show exactly how your things are displayed. This is a very simple setup right now on my evoker. You'll notice that I don't have any fancy ways to display echoed HOTS. This may be fixed at some point, but I was having problems importing and exporting, so that's why this is. Here's two of these bouquets right here. You just select them on the drop down. This is for tank defensives, this is for non-tank defensives, and bam, there's that. So hopefully with those three things, you should get your VuHDo up and running. I would highly encourage you, if you copied my UI and you want to use VuHDo, take some time to learn how to change stuff and maybe look up a tutorial, because there's so much stuff going on and you may have problems if you're using this add-on in the beginning of an expansion without knowing how to work it. All right, next we will do shadowed unit frames. So you'll see my target frame is not VuHDo. You can honestly just use base UI with this. You don't need to mess around with this add-on, but if you have shadowed unit frames installed, you do /suf. First, you need to make sure that you have advanced checked. For some reason, you cannot do profiles without advanced check. You go to layout manager and you import the code right here, and then bam, it should do everything you want. It should disable everything except for a target frame, and the focus frame is the other one that I use, the one that's up here. That should be that. All right, next we have Weakauras. The middle part of my screen is all Weakauras, and you can import now with nested groups pretty much all of my Weakauras together in one package. So you'll go to /WA, you'll go to import, and then you'll just paste that whole mess in there, and then bam, each one of my class groups should be called Growl and then Evoker or HPAL or whatever class it is. So a couple things about Weakauras. Number one, I may have some helpful Weakauras in the folder that aren't part of the UI. So for example, here I have a stasis Weakaura. If you already have that or don't like the way those look, feel free to just delete them out of here. Everything else will work fine. The last thing is, depending on your resolution or your monitor size, your icons may look good or bad. What you can do with any Weakaura package is, if you just click on this right here, you can see this group scale function, and you can actually go 1.5, and now you can see the icons are huge. You can make it 0.5 and it's smaller. So if things aren't scaling the way that you like them to on your monitor, the first thing I would do is go into the... All right. Next is, I would consider Weakauras a mandatory add-on, so I also wanted to include BigWigs and LittleWigs. I have no customization here. I have no profile to upload. I would highly recommend, though, getting a boss mod. Whenever you see timers on my screen about, oh, a spell is about to happen, or a warning about a spell, almost always it's from BigWigs. This is a very, very, very useful add-on. I would say the best feature of this, I would recommend, is using the sounds. You can go into any boss fight, even dungeon bosses here, and you can say if there's something that you're struggling with, you can go on this arrow right here, then you can put a countdown, you can put a sound, you can emphasize it, you can do a whole lot of stuff to make spells more noticeable. So let's say you're struggling with a boss fight, you don't necessarily know how to use Weakauras or how to find something, would highly recommend using BigWigs / LittleWigs for that. All right, next is details. Details is very easy to set up, however, people are lazy. So I have my profile in the description. You'll go to /details options. It will open up this window. Then you go to profiles, and then this is where you can import it here. Everything should be plug and play. It should just pop up and everything is working good. One thing is I have a action tracker here. I mainly do this because I stream, and sometimes it's hard to see what buttons I'm using. If you do not want this, you want to do /streamer, I believe is the command, and that opens this window. You can disable the plugin here. I'm not sure if it's enabled with my profile, but that's how you access that plugin there. That is part of details. And the last importable add-on profile that I want to mention is OmniCD. Unfortunately, as the making of this video, the day before the expansion, there is no working OmniCD. OmniCD is the add-on that has the icons on the left of the party frame to show your teammates' cooldowns. I love the add-on, it's very, very useful, but it is not working right now. So, if at any point the add-on starts working, you can find my profile for it in the description of the video. Otherwise, we may have to search for another alternative. Okay, so now let's talk about some other helpful add-ons and just little things that you may be confused about. So the first and obvious one is the way my icons look. So you'll probably notice that my icons on my screen may look different from the ones that yours look, especially my Weakauras, and that's because I use an add-on that reskins icons and bars. The add-on is called Masque, M-A-S-Q-U-E. And so it has multiple skins on here. We got to get away from this guy on the turnip. Freaking Moonkins, man. So the skin that I use is called Clean UI Black. Again, I'd encourage you to check out. You know, I'm not the only UI creator. Definitely look around and see if there's any bar skins that you like. But I personally think it makes it look a lot more tidy and compact, and I think it zooms in the icons and stuff. So that's what I use for that, Masque and then Clean UI. Next is my action bars. Unfortunately, so I use an add-on called Bartender. Unfortunately, the base bars don't have the functionality to have everything nice and compact down here and to fade out how I like it. So I'm just going to keep using Bartender. Although it does not have profiles for you to export and import. So I apologize, but you're either going to have to use regular skill bars or you're going to have to learn to set up a bar add-on yourself. It isn't too terribly tough, but it is what it is. Next, some add-ons that get asked a lot. Method raid tools is if you do /MRT. If you're doing raiding stuff, this is pretty useful. I'd recommend having this. The one thing that that people ask about is this raid check function. When someone does a ready check in a dungeon, it'll come up with a little icon that checks your consumables and makes sure they're on and lets you click it. A lot of people ask what does that for me if it's a Weakaura. It's actually Method Raid Tools. It's an add-on that's very nice. It also tracks battle reses and a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, that's an add-on that people ask about. The next one that pretty much everybody should use if you are doing dungeons is Mythic Dungeon Tools. This is a very, very helpful add-on. It shows you all the mobs in the dungeon. It shows how much count they give. It shows you what they're grouped with. It shows you all their spells. It is just like an insanely, insanely powerful add-on for learning about the game. I know it sounds nerdy, but when Dragonflight came out, I literally go to Dragonflight Season 1. I go like this, and I go down the list, and I read every single mob and every single ability of what all of them do. Looks like my version is a little bit out of date. But yeah, very, very, very good. As you get into higher level pugs, you will be expected to have this add-on, or you can just not have it and pretend like you know what's going on. Next is Opie. This is an add-on that a lot of people ask about too. It essentially binds a radial wheel of different icons onto one button. So I use this for things that I won't use in combat, but that I kind of want to keybind. So for example, I have all my dungeon portals here. This is one that I use for all my consumables that will like either go off on death or that I just run out of a lot. And then I'll have one for like mounts and hearthstone and repair and stuff like that, just like toys. So I find this very, very useful. I would not recommend putting important skills on it. Sometimes I'll have like a battle potion one, but I generally would recommend never using it that in combat unless you're really, really struggling with keybinds. Next, very quick add-on. It's called Right Click Modifier. It just stops you from right-clicking targets while you're scrolling around, moving your camera. I found this very, very helpful. I don't know how anyone lives without this add-on, because you lose your target all the time, especially in raid when your eyes are not looking at your target that often when you're raid healing. So yeah, right-click modifier if you're struggling with accidentally targeting stuff, would highly recommend that. Now we're getting down to the small stuff. Minimap bag button. This just removes all these little silly minimap icons that all the other add-ons do, and then it just has a button that lets you do this and then see all of them. No one ever uses these icons anyway, so whatever. For my dungeon timer is an add-on called Mythic Plus Timer. It gets asked about a lot as well. It's just simply called Mythic Plus Timer, all one word. I can't show you it because we're running around in town, but you'll have to take my word for it. And lastly, I do use an add-on called Friend Groups. This is like for separating people on my friends list, because I have people that don't even play WoW anymore, play Classic, or people that play other games, and people that I do keys with, and just friends. So it helps me because my friends list gets kind of full, filtering out. It also shows people what class they're on by color and all that. So a lot of people ask about this add-on too. It's called Friend Groups. And that is it. So a little bit quick, a little under the weather today, but I really wanted to get this video out because I know everybody's getting their UI set up for Dragonflight. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to drop them in the comments. I guess I said that backwards. Also, make sure you check the description. I'll have as many updated profile links as I can. And if that doesn't work, you can always hop in my stream or my Discord, which will be in the link in the description as well, and you can bug me there. So thanks for watching, friends, and happy keying.